Bismillah. Welcome back, Zoo Crew. We are now day 29, I believe, potentially day 30, as we're not really counting the days anymore now that we're in rhythm. And I guess today we're going to talk about the mysteries of the universe. But before we even go into that, we should talk about the power of a network, right? And I think that's fitting given just the whole Beyond Networking event last night. Mind you, I really didn't do any networking last night. I was just kind of hanging out, socializing, and I think most people at that event were just kind of socializing, given the nature of the event, the timing, and whatnot. And yeah, it was nice to reconnect with some of the old friends that I made through the community. But in terms of networking, it's not like you're gonna go to an event and like make contacts or sign clients. Networking is pretty much like a way of life. It's a lifestyle, right? You are always constantly networking. And really, when you think about it, this is why a lot of entrepreneurs or people with personal brands are making content, right? That's a form of networking in its own regard because these videos are going to live forever online and then people will see them, or even if you're like doing blog posts, right? If you have some form of an online presence, that's your virtual avatar, you could say, that's constantly networking for you. So people will stumble onto your page, they'll stumble onto your content, and then they get to know you. And then now, when there is an opportunity, it comes to you. You're not the one chasing opportunities, right? And this is what I meant by like the mysteries of the universe. So there's a few very cool opportunities that are just kind of landed in my lap, and we're not going to get into details about them yet. I've learned my lesson of do not expose things until they're concrete. However, the point being, if you have an online presence and you're investing your time and energy to make content, like you really don't know what's going to come from it, right? And even if like you go back to day zero when I made the first video, I had no idea where this channel was going. Even now, I don't really know where the channel is going, but we're kind of finding direction, you could say. So, yeah, I mean, while I was praying today, I figured like, let me ask God for some guidance and maybe like he'll clear the path for me, and just like figure out some form of income. Like I am doing like multiple things, right? So it's like initially I was saying, oh, I'm building this like AI agency, but then I gained some clarity last night. Um, I guess we could attest that to Mina asking me a few questions and like kind of being like, do you really want to like say this instead of this? And then figuring out like, well, I guess the one line she hit me was with like, if like it's not really a profession or a career if like you don't have a label for it. And I was like, okay, facts, that makes sense, you know, especially because like she comes from the corporate world, whereas like I've never been in the corporate world. So long story short, I've ended on business consulting. That's kind of the direction I'm going in. And then at the same time, like selling the ebooks, so like building out the information business. And then yeah, so I mean, I'm praying and I'm like asking God, like, okay, like what should I be doing for income? And then sure enough, like I got a phone call and something I was not expecting at all. And this kind of just fell into my lap. And then I reached out to one of my friends and similar situation, like the level of alignment is nuts. Um, you know, because something like this kind of fell into his lap as well. So we might have a very good opportunity to collaborate, which would be nice because this is somebody I've always enjoyed collaborating with and got along with well, worked well with, you know. So the universe does work in very mysterious ways. And none of this would have been possible without my online presence, right? So this is somebody who like stumbled across my LinkedIn, and then like this is prior to me having like deleted and wiped all of my social medias for the most part, you know. So yeah, this person called me and then I was like, yeah, just remind me like what did we like discuss? And he was like, yeah, yeah, no, like I'm from like your LinkedIn and this is kind of what we discussed. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, you know. And initially, like I was just trying to brush him off, and I was like, yeah, I'm not trying to have this conversation. But then I was like, you know what? What's the harm? Like, let's just see what happens. And then, sure enough, that was the right move because this has turned into something quite unique, you know. And there's a lot of other unique things that this person kind of presented me with, but those are, I guess, more long-term goals, you could say, or long-term plays. I'm not really in the position to take down anything like that yet. So yeah, I mean, networking really does go beyond just attending events, right? It's literally like how you live and the way you talk, the things you talk about, the way you dress, right? All of these things are a part of networking, right? And like, let's dive into a little bit about like the way you dress, the way you present yourself to the world is gonna have a huge impact. And like, it sounds bad to say, but like, you really only get one shot at a first impression, right? So this is why, like, if you go through my content from like 2021, 2022, anything you see, I'm wearing like a custom purple like suit or blazer from like Third Sun Tailor Shop. Shout out Rami and Third Sun Tailor Shop. And the whole point of this, so initially, like, it was a bit of a bold move, you know, like getting a full double-breasted purple suit with like gold accents. But the purpose was whenever I wear this in like my content, it got to a point where people were literally calling me the purple real estate suit guy or like the purple suit real estate guy, you know? And that became my brand to the point where like because of that I was getting real estate opportunities, right? And again, this is something we used to teach at Black Card. It's like you need to build a brand because this is where your deals are going to come from, right? It's like you only have a limited amount of time in your day. So if you're now spending all of your active time hunting deals, sure, you'll probably get some deals, but it's like, is that a very effective use of your time, right? If you build a brand, now it's like having multiple little salespeople who are like literally, that's why they call it a video sales letter, right? So like these content become their own little sales people or sales agents that live online and are constantly selling you as a person to the world. And then, yeah, this is how people are able to raise money. This is how people are able to source deals and then put them together, right? And yeah, I mean, coming back to this whole like purple thing, so it has like a few different like layers in this, like the psychology behind why I did this color. So first of all, it stands out. It's very much like unique. You never really see people wearing like a full purple suit. Mind you, like now I'm noticing a lot of people who like watch my content have started wearing purple suits, you know, but I take it as like a compliment, you know. And I've always had copycats trying to copy my moves, and the thing is, they'll never get ahead of me because they can't make their next move until I make mine, right? That's just the way it works. But it gives you like you have to have like a presence about you, especially if you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to be building an online brand, you want to be having in like that's why they call it online presence, right? But like you need to have presence in person. So generally, like if I was out and about and like wearing purple, this becomes like a conversation starter because people will be like, oh, like nice suit, like, or like I've never seen somebody wearing purple. And then now I can go into like the history of like, oh, well, do you know why it's purple? And they'll be like, well, no. Or they'll ask me like, why purple? And I'll be like, okay, well, what's the rarest color in like the naturally occurring color in the world? And that's blue, right? And then the second one is purple. And now if you look into the history of the color purple in ancient Greece or like ancient times, all of like the royals or like the monarchs, the kings, the queens, etc., would wear purple because it was a very expensive dye, and then they would dye their clothes purple, right? So now it's like, first of all, it represents royalty in ancient history, and then secondly, it's a conversation starter, right? So now when I'm explaining like the history of purple, this person I'm talking to automatically is like, oh damn, like this guy is very knowledgeable about multiple things. Because let's say they know me from online, just like real estate, or they know me from like mindset or like credit or any of these kind of things like marketing, etc. But now when they're talking to me in person, they realize, oh damn, like this guy knows about history. And then from there, you can like move the conversation to philosophy, you can move the conversation to business, whatever, right? So that's the thing. Every single thing is there's a lot of thought behind it, right? It's not like I just one day woke up and was like, oh yeah, let me just start wearing purple, you know? So again, this is all like a form of networking if you think about it. And that's why they say your network is your net worth, you know? So point being, networking is not an event, it's a lifestyle, right? Everything you do is like at least the way I see the world, right? Because for me, like I don't compartmentalize things. Everything is like integrated. Or at least I'm trying to integrate everything, right? So there's no like work and then life. Life is work. And it's just about finding something you enjoy doing, right? And then again, it becomes a form of networking because now everywhere you go, you're talking with people and then like thinking about like what they're telling you and how like you can collaborate, right? So there's a few like cool collaborations that are going to be coming out over the next few months that I'm working on behind the scenes, you know? And again, like none of this would be possible if, first of all, I didn't have an online presence, or secondly, like I wasn't just out and about, like willing to go to seminars, fly to different cities to meet people. Like literally, I would not have been the operations manager at Black Card if I wasn't willing to like, first of all, sign up for coaching, fly out to Winnipeg to meet Stefan, and then like meet Damon, and then literally move to Winnipeg, right? And I guess like my biggest mistake was not moving while Stefan was around. And like for those of you who've been like around, you'll know I was supposed to move, and then I just got sidetracked and started like managing artists and shit, you know. But again, that in its own way was a different form of networking because I met a lot of different people, and then from there, some of those people ended up becoming students, right? So everything is like connected. But yeah, I mean, the whole point is build your online presence. You have no idea what's gonna come of it, and also it's like the whole yellow beetle theory, right? Like when you're thinking about seeing a yellow beetle, like a Volkswagen Beetle, you're gonna see them everywhere because you're like looking for it. And opportunity is the same way, right? A lot of people get presented opportunities and like they're not aware there's an opportunity being presented to them just because they can't see it, and then they don't act on it, you know? And then maybe like down the road years later they realize there was an opportunity, you know? So yeah, I mean, I guess that's it for today. There wasn't really much structure for this video. I knew that I wanted to talk about networking, and then I guess let's talk a little bit more about networking events, right? And like, should you attend them? So this is my thing. Like, honestly, I've never been a fan of networking events. In the middle, I started going to Beyond Networking just because like Sarwar is a family friend and like he's invited me a ton of times. But the reality is, most of the times I would attend these events, I was just making friends and socializing. It wasn't really like networking in the sense of like business or like clients and whatnot. And most of the people you're going to find at networking events are like entry level entrepreneurs for the most part, right? And when you think about it, like the psychology behind networking events, somebody is hosting a networking event generally to like build their own social proof, build their own status, build their own community and credibility, right? And then eventually some of those people will become their clients. If not, like this is a great way to kind of build your name and build your authority, right? It's the same reason why you have all of these like fake real estate experts or like gurus or like anyone in the online like information space putting on seminars, doing podcasts, writing books, making courses, etc. It's not even about educating people. It's more so just to like have it on their resume. Like, yeah, I'm an author. Yeah, I made a course. Yeah, I speak at XYZ seminar. I have a podcast, right? It gives them social proof, which allows them now to raise capital and also have access to new opportunities, right? Because people will literally just come out of nowhere and be like, "Hey, I have this money. Do you have any deals? Do you want to like can we invest?" Or like somebody will be like, "Hey, like I have this great deal. Like, do you want this deal?" You know? And yeah, this is the thing. If I went into more detail about these things that are like happening right now behind the scenes, this video would make a lot more sense. But um, it's too soon for that, and y'all are gonna have to wait to see what happens. And I'm not trying to like block my blessings, you know. So I guess let's end it at that. I don't know how long this video ended up being. I wasn't planning to be talking for more than 10 minutes, so hopefully it's around 10 minutes. But yeah, Zukri, peace out. We'll see y'all tomorrow.